everybody, and welcome to Embrace Education, the podcast where we center care, well-being, and real-world education. I'm Effie and today we're going beyond buzzwords to talk about what students and educator well-being is about and how it connects to our everyday experience in the classroom. And my guest today is Faye Sotiriou, a certified educational coach and experienced EFL teacher with over 25 years in education. I don't believe it when I see her, but it's true. She currently teaches at Perotis College at the American Farm School, where she blends coaching, soft skills, and academic instruction. Faye also designs and delivers training for teachers and students in her own through her own company, focusing on well-being and human-centered learning. Faye, welcome. I'm really excited to have you with us today.
Hi, Effie. Thank you so much. I was wondering while you were talking, is that you talking or it was me talking about myself? Thank you so much for the great words. And I'm really, really happy for being here with you today.
We are happy too. And there are a lot of very interesting things that we can discuss. So because we want this conversation to get honest about what it really works, what really works in education, and what is the extended understanding about what works in education. And so before we dive in, let me introduce this idea of today's discussion. So before we dive in, let me introduce today's discussion with how I got to meet you. So one day I just opened Facebook, as I usually do at a specific time of the day, not all day, to check on news. And what do I see? I see Faye, who I haven't seen before, talking about a summit that I've never heard of, and saying what is in my heart, in my mind, and the center of my life, which is all educators being asked by global organizations like UNESCO, like OECD, talk about the need for coaching, mentoring, and peer support. And this is the core stone, the stone corner. And so this is the stone corner of everything I believe in, everything I think of. So that's why Faye is here today to talk to us about this amazing summit and the global news coming from there. What was it like, Faye, and what conversations around well-being stood out to you in this conference in UNESCO headquarters, and how do these global discussions compare to what's actually happening in schools?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the question, Effie. I still think, even though some days have actually passed since I arrived back to Greece, and I keep having that question, what was it like, or what happened there? And I still, like in my video in social media, I still don't know how to answer in such a way so as to be in a position to show you what really happened there. Very briefly, first of all, so that all people that are part of an education today to know what is actually that Creativity in Education Summit. It is a platform, first of all. Let's consider it like a platform, that summit, that is there to bridge research, policy, and practice so as to create better classrooms. This is a summit that takes place, a global summit, once a year, every year, and it is co-organized, as you said, by the OECD, which is, let's say, the Center for Educational Research and Innovation, the UNESCO Institute of Information Technology, and also the Global Institute of Creative Thinking. So as you can realize, when we have such global organizations that are holding such a summit, policymakers there, educators, researchers, technology experts were there this year to discuss aligning assessment in order to foster creativity and critical thinking.
Mm.
There were roundtable discussions, interactive workshops. So I just gave you an idea of what took place. And now that we're talking here, Effie, I'm thinking of some facts that, even though for me they're taken for granted as a coach, they're still shaking my world. So fact number one, creativity, as it was said there, is not a byproduct that we get from academic education. Fact number one, creativity is a set of skills and disposition that calls for extra attention and that requires extra education. That is why educators all over the world reported, not just said or claimed, they reported their need for extra coaching and mentoring. That's fact number one. The second fact is that it has to do with AI, because AI was really discussed there. So we're not just cognition, we're not just brain and bodies. And that means that AI should be placed in a mindset or in a framework where we have ethical approaches. In other words, if we ask AI to create something, creativity doesn't exist anymore. So an ethical approach requires to use AI in order to extend our ideas and not replace our minds or create with AI.
To use and not be used.
Exactly.
It's what I call humane intelligence.
And that is why it's really important to keep saying the fact that we're not just brains. The fact that we're talking about critical thinking, creativity, and resilience also, which was named a lot, these are survivors' tools. These are part of the human element. That is why we should approach education with those tools of human element. The third fact had to do with what is creativity itself. And in other words, we talked a lot about students, and we talked about the environment in which students are placed. So if we create a mindset in which questions are going to lead to troubles rather than answers, then we definitely have created a problematic environment.
Please.
And finally, creativity and critical thinking are at the core of education. And if we don't realize that, AI is going to wash away all the foundations that we have in our society. That is why, to finish, we need assessment with a new role. In other words, a very good question to finish that summit was, how do we transform students' potential into real life achievement? And how is that reflected to assessment? So as you can realize, Effie, there were many things reported in that summit, but what was great was the fact that we had the chance not just to interact, but to see reports, to see data of all the facts that we just mentioned, to practice creativity tools. So I brought a lot of material with me from my trainings, to see processes that other teachers have used in other countries, and to create a project by ourselves and to judge creativity projects in other countries. Because let's not forget the question that what is creativity in different countries? It's not the same thing in every country as well.
Mm-hmm.
We should take into consideration all the elements: cultural,
Mm-hmm.
political, social, environmental.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I may
Yeah.
have answered your question quite extensively. That is why the second part of your question is not going to be answered, because all the things that were said and reported there were coming from research data, from school programs that took place around the world, from educational researches and other research projects.
Right. So, if I hear you well, what is left is the question. After all, how is creativity and critical thinking going to be implemented or created in our schools? Not implemented, but created, and it matches. It goes along with my idea, or if you like, my view that creativity is a state.
Exactly.
As such, it needs the appropriate fertilizing material around it. Since you're in the American farm school, it needs the right fertilizer to grow.
That's what they said, that
Mm.
creativity is not a skill to be measured, but it should be a mindset, a
Yes.
cultivated mindset.
Beautiful.
And to the question of what can we do, in other words, to be more creative, let's put it differently. Education should help you find out where you can become really good at. And that requires coaching and training to the teachers.
Yes. Be the best you can be. And because every child, every person in the world has areas where they can ace, they can excel. The question is, how are they supported to find them? Oh, I couldn't agree more in that. So this brings me actually to another question. How is creativity connected, in your opinion, to well-being for students? And what are the challenges facing schools today to respond to this need?
I will start with a short question, which means that we should all ask ourselves, what is creativity? First of all, let's see how each one of us as educators perceives that word. Because as we said before, creativity is not one thing, but it is a set of skills and dispositions. So first of all, we should try to define that word according to our own cultural environment, educational environment, social environment, personal experiences, everything, in order to come up with a definition that will be in a position to help us then set a new frame. That's the first thing I can say.
Right. So this means that there is also the question of what is well-being.
Exactly. Right. And I was about to say that if we actually are in a position to define creativity as such, which, as we said, is a set of skills, okay? Among those skills that define creativity, well-being is one of the foundations. Because in other words, if you are not, let's say, in a state proper to create, then creativity cannot be achieved. That goes both for the teachers and the students. Yes. So first, well-being, and through that, creativity is everywhere.
Right. That creates a sort of, and it's a beautiful metaphor. This creates a sort of a visual scale where you have well-being at the bottom of everything, and then well-being allows for creativity to exist, or the skill set, or the growth that leads to empowerment and the ability to be who you really can be, the amazing, unique person you can be. And then this, in turn, leads to well-being yeah, so there's a sort of a circle into this. That's a beautiful, and this is actually life skills, because as you said, this is how young people, and not just young people, are going to not just survive but thrive in this world, which
I
is
really
change.
like, yes, Effie, I really like the word that you're using. It's not soft skills, it's exactly life skills.
Yes,
And
definitely.
since we're discussing about well-being, it's time to put into the table our learning audience as well, our students, which means we keep discussing about creativity and well-being and critical thinking. What about our students' opinion on what are these words? So first, we need to work together and see how do these people define creativity? What is creativity for them? What is well-being for them?
Mm-hmm.
What is critical thinking for them? They should have a role in their assessment as well. So we should ask the students, what do you think you should be assessed at? Or what is assessment for you? So if we don't create a certain mindset within the classroom, I don't think we are in a position to talk about these life skills. In other words, let's put into the game our students as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yes, and talking about our students, I'm in third year education as you are. You're at the college level now. So what am I saying? So we're both in third year education, and I wanted to ask you, what are students like in Greece? We're talking about Greece. We're talking about this specific moment. What kinds of skills do they bring on the table when they come? Bring to the table when they come uh, to your college or to our university?
Very nice question, which is always the beginning of my seminars. The set of skills they are bringing to the table is the lack of skills. So they bring great willingness, most of them. They bring concerns, they bring anxieties, they bring curiosity, but they lack basic life skills. And that means that whatever they have been taught until the age of 18, the question is not the content of their learning material, it's not what they did, it's how they were taught.
The
That brings
context.
us to your question, which means they have a number of facilities here in the school, like in all colleges. They have great supporting systems for them, support systems. However, they have no clue how to engage, how to bond, how to connect. As far as critical thinking, I see there is this word is, let's say, undefined in their own minds. They don't know how to begin.
Non-existent.
Yes. So this brings me to the question, what do we do as educators? You know, in the summit, what was said, and I think we all know it, is that you can't keep repeating the same patterns and expect for changes to take place.
It has been said by great minds like Einstein. This exact thing has been said before. And this, so the question is, to, in your opinion, okay, let's imagine that you've got the magic wand, or we've got the magic wand, and we're reimagining the system, or we're reinventing the system. If you could redesign just one part of the school system to better support students and their life skills and their well-being, what would it be?
It would be the human beings, us, the teachers. A great place could be a great place, but what transforms it is the human element. You know why I'm saying the human beings, Effie? You know, many times when I go to trainings, especially trainings that involve creativity or a different methodology in the classroom, or methodologies that will improve the lesson in the classroom, the teachers usually expect, as I said, different tools, exercises, facts that will suddenly, you know, make creativity visible. But what they don't expect is that we are there to redefine notions like creativity, like what it means to be a teacher, what it means visible learning, what it means connection, engagement.
Yes.
So it's actually redefinition of what it means to be a teacher in 2025. The whole change comes from within. So I don't think, first of all, that I am the capable person to say to a teacher what should do differently in a lesson plan. Not because I can't. I'm a teacher for more than 25 years, but who says that I'm the one to judge your lesson plan, actually? But I am here to help you redefine that magic word, which is called education and connection. I have never seen any school, any teaching staff, any student, any educational system that is successful without entailing the words connection, love, communication. So this is what is this is what is missing, actually. And this is also part of what we describe as well-being, or if we take it on the other way around, of what is called teachers burnout. When these three elements are missing, because we're not trained to build connections. We're not trained to bond with each other. So when these elements are missing, we cannot talk about creativity, at least the way teachers have it in their mind. Creativity has nothing to do with books. And it has nothing to do with, let's say, games or lesson plans or videos. Of course, these are parts, and these are very useful tools that promote creativity, enlarge it, enhance it, say it whatever you want to say it. But at the core of what we call creativity, first we should see what is that word.
And the relate. I love the fact Brené Brown in one of her books says everything is in the relationships, and she is so very right. We know it as teachers, and we know it as human beings from the bottom of our hearts. Everything is in the connection, and this makes, if we are to keep one, and this is also evident in teacher well-being. All the research we've done and the research I've recovered talks about peer support.
Exactly.
90% of teachers turn to their peers to discuss, to comfort, to deal with things that happen in the classroom. Because let's face it, teaching is a solitary endeavor. We are alone in the classroom with other students. If we don't build a relationship with them, then we're completely alone. And that's the issue. How do we build connections? How do we build relationships that are conducive to our well-being? In Neuro Learning Power, the training that we're doing with teachers, this is the very first thing that we're learning. Build a connection. Keep the network strong, powerful.
Everything ends up to the connection.
Yes.
Peer support, as you said. Is it accidental that the summit started with this particular statement? That teachers reported, exactly, that teachers all over the world globally reported that they need peer support and coaching. I mean, we have the choice of ignoring the facts, keep repeating the same patterns, say that we do whatever we can, and, let's keep on the same model. All right. But is this creative after all?
That's the point. And is this conducive to well-being? And then if well-being is not there, is it conducive to learning, to improve, to growth? So everything starts with the connections. Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. Yes, please.
It's just that, Effie, it is also important to say to everybody that is here with us today that It's not our fault. It's not something that we do wrong. What I'm trying to say is that when, as people in our culture, we were not trained on how to connect, how can we expect from ourselves to do it in the classroom? So a teacher that doesn't know how to connect, it doesn't mean that he or she's a bad teacher. It's just a teacher that needs help in order to understand what is, first of all, connection, and then how to build that connection.
Of course, and as we've gone through understanding and defining creativity, well-being, relationships and connections. So yes, it's a matter of defining or understanding or discussing what everything is before we get to actually achieve the outcome of what really it means to everyone differently, maybe, but still towards that outcome. It's been an amazing discussion. I love it. We could go on forever.
Me
We could
too.
go on forever. Yeah.
At least you and me, we could be talking forever. I don't know
Oh,
about
yeah.
audience.
We have actually. Okay.
Exactly.
There is a game that we play at the end. There is one question for you to answer.
I like games.
Me too. Love them. So one question for you to answer. One non-negotiable habit that helps you retain your well-being and recharge.
Should be an educational habit.
Up to you. You choose.
I never forget to remind myself how passionate I am for what I do. I never forget that.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Faye.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank
It's
you
been
so
a
much.
pleasure and a passion.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say that to whoever wants to reach me, I am in my educational center, which means my site, which is www.fayesotiriou.com, or they can find me through social media, because new projects are arriving, not only through the summit and for creativity and critical thinking, but also other projects that are all teacher-oriented, because teachers are the ones who need help.
Beautiful. We're looking forward to learning more about them whenever you're ready.
Really soon.
Thanks everyone for listening to Embrace Education. In this episode, we uncovered how well-being is a support for growth and creativity and critical thinking. And if this episode sparked a shift in how you think about teacher well-being, share it with a colleague or a school leader. And try one small action this week. One small action to protect your own well-being as an educator and the well-being of your students. Culture beats quick fixes. So let's build a culture of well-being, creativity in our schools. Until the next episode, take care. See you there.